And this meeting is being recorded as well. Start in just a moment, okay?
Let me know if there's a lot of background noise on my end. I'll mute it if I have to.
Well, I like this jam.
We can barely hear it.
Oh, what? Hang on a
Yeah.
Raise
second.
it up. Raise it up. Who's this?
We're going to be live streaming on my Facebook page for now. Okay, mi gente. Okay, mi gente, let's get started. Bienvenidos. It sounds like a Freestyle Fridays aquí en la Mesa IA, 5 de junio. We have all our celebrities in the house. We've got from left to right, Cynthia Vasquez, all the way from the West Coast, West Side in the house, Cali.
What's up?
We've also got the Northeast, New York in the house, Manhattan and Bronx, Javier Irizarry.
Good.
Olga Justiniano, welcome, bienvenidos. And I am Mike here from Miami, the 305 as well. So we're live on Facebook. This will be repurposed on Instagram as well as LinkedIn. And today we have an interesting session about monetizing and maximizing our culture, what we're doing. And here's the whole gist of this, how this came to be. Short story. Last week, I needed to find out how to make churros. I wanted to explore the kitchen, right? And I was so encouraged because I found a channel on Instagram. I also found this lady doing her videos on YouTube where she was making authentic Mexican churros. So I'm going to share my screen real quick to show you a little bit of what I found on her channel and to talk about what's happening. So this is Cooking Con Claudia. I did reach out. I didn't get a response as of yet, but maybe she'll come on in the future. Who knows? And if you look at some of these numbers of her family's recipes, the numbers are astronomical. I mean, talk about viral. 400,000 views con el pollo frito. You've got, looks like birria tacos. Oh, no, steak quesadillas. And different options as well. I came for the churros. So I followed some of her videos. I got all the recipes in a matter of like, I picked it up in 2-3 minutes. And here's the great thing. She didn't just show her recipe. She actually wrote a cookbook. She's selling her cookbook. She's monetizing what she knows from her family's recipe and doing more with it. And that's the message for today. There are people right now who, yes, are in between jobs looking for work. We're all concerned about the economy and the outcome of things beyond our control. But there's also things that we can control, and taking even the simplest things and empowering them with AI tools. And that's what we wanted to go on to share with you today from us 4 practitioners. So from a digital marketing and branding perspective, I mean, some of the tools that I'm referring to, you already have access to. And I'm going to show you as an example. How can everybody hear me, by the way? We're good?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys.
All right, cool. So I've got over here on my screen, just pulling it up in 1 second. There are tools currently available right now, and I'll just show one, for example, like Adobe Firefly. It's not very expensive. You can even combine it with ChatGPT if you want it, and I have it here on the side profile where you're able to go ahead and create a project. Let's say you wanted to sell churros, right? And you wanted to make your brand visuals. Well, the latest version of GPT-2 from ChatGPT is awesome. It allows you to make storyboards in very, very, very nice detail, by the way. And I'm going to put it on screen so you see the amount of detail. You can prompt and say, take a picture of my existing churro that I made at home and show me what it would look like as a business. And ChatGPT will go ahead and give you an idea to visualize what are the options. What if you made a video? What would the hook be, the texture, the kind of look? So I made this within minutes. It didn't take long at all. This is very, very straightforward. But I want you to think from this perspective. If it was the 1980s, just like the freestyle music we had, to do this would have been impossible. You needed to hire people and outsource, and it would have been impossible to get this out and make, let alone a video or a YouTube channel, because the technology wasn't there. We're far beyond that. In 2026, we have AI tools, which Javier, Olga, and Cynthia are going to show you on how they can expand your thinking. You can overcome your doubts and see that even something as simple as churros, you can monetize in today's economy and make something awesome with it, a big old hype about it, right? So I'm going to show you a quick snippet of a video. Hopefully it's out already. If not, I'll just pass on the mic. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. My hope is that one of you are going to see this video and say, you know what, I never thought about using ChatGPT to take a picture of my food or a process that I know how to do that no one else knows, that's from my culture, and monetizing it, making some money from it. All right, I'm going to switch it on over. The video is still processing. I had an AI generated video, but moving on. So I got Javier coming up. He's got the big smile. Bienvenidos, Javier. How are you?
Bienvenidos, ¿cómo está todo? Hello, everyone. I'm Javier, new tech coordinator, AI educator, and what I'm going to present today, very brief, but I hope it's impactful. Just speaking on the effect that AI can have on especially incarcerated individuals, people who are just full and bursting of ideas that perhaps have not had access to graphic designers or just any type of business mindset to carry along with their ideas, right? And so I want to talk about two of my students today who I'm friends with on LinkedIn, and I've helped them since they've returned home. One was able to develop a book, and let me just bring to attention his page. I'm going to share my page right now. All right. Both my email. All right. So this is Mario Wright. He is a publisher, author, poet. I believe he got out maybe like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. After doing some time, but he was always doing poetry inside prison, and he basically, was a leader in that sense. That he wrote so many poems, stories while he was inside, and they even had like poetry slams on the inside in which he encouraged others. So, he's been out for some time now. He's doing amazing things in the world. He's going to schools, talking to children in many various communities from Newark to New York. He's gotten his degree, he's gotten his certificates in various disciplines, and he has published several books since then, and even has a website. So when we initially met, he did not have any experience with AI, and he wanted to talk to me about, how can I really like use AI to my advantage for the things that I want to do. I want to publish books out there that reach kids and reach various audiences. And so we were using Microsoft Copilot at the time. This is 2024, I want to say, maybe late 2023. And at that time, from my personal experience, Copilot was better at producing images than Google Gemini, which at the time was called Google Bard. And ChatGPT didn't really have strong image generation as well. So I always told my students go with Copilot. Obviously, many years have passed, and right now I actually prefer Gemini when it comes to developing images, just because of how quick it does it and the vast range of styles that it can replicate. But for his case, we used Copilot, and he gave me a poem. The poem was about his experiences in New York having barbecues in the neighborhood. And he wanted to make that the cover of his book. And he was talking to a graphic designer, and I think they were charging quite a lot at the time. And he just didn't have it for that, and he really wanted to make this vision come true. And so I told him, give me that poem, and what we'll do is we'll tell Copilot to convert this poem into a cover, a book cover. And so this was the book that he produced, Burnt Cookout Music. We created this with a prompt from his poetry. His poetry was capturing kids playing on the school ground behind the building. It was capturing fights in the back that would go on in the neighborhood, like real talk of things that would go on in the New York experience. Animals on the playground, someone barbecuing, the OGs watching over the youngins, making sure that they're taken care of. And this was essentially his vision, and he was uh, so satisfied with it that he made this the cover, got it published, and he gave me a shout out in the book, which was really cool because I've never been mentioned in a book before. So I was really happy to see that. And just follow Mario Wright on LinkedIn if you can. He's doing amazing things. He's a true leader in his space, and I hope to collaborate with him again. I did not get his permission to talk about this, but I do feel like because we've been close so many times, and he's asked me to share his website and share his books. I figured this would be a great way to shout him out and give him credit for that. So thank you, Mario. I appreciate you, and keep up the great work. Last, before I finish off here, I want to talk about a student of mine. His name is Kevin Cornish, and he was away for over 30 years. And inside, he created his own language, a language that was to represent everyone that had been impacted by colonialism, um, from English colonialism to Spanish colonialism to French colonialism. The language of the Caribbean people, which is a dialect that mixes the dialect of certain African languages as well as the Filipino languages. And so he essentially created his own language inside prison. And he wrote it down. He had manuscripts and journals. And at one point, one of the CO officers took his manuscripts, tossed it in the garbage, and he lost all his work. And so he had spent years working on it, and he had to start over. So in 2024, he comes to me at where I work, and he's like, "Are you Javier Zari?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." He's like, "I heard about you. I need to talk to you. Tell me about this AI because I want to see how this will help my vision." And so we sat down, and he gave me some of the manuscripts of his language, and the language had real phonetic codes, real phonetic laws. It had um, like grammar that he created for his language and specific rules, like certain words. I forgot the rules of the word because it's been a while, but I remember like words cannot be longer than 7 letters, and like words had just different definitions and meanings, and he could speak it fluently. And so we programmed Google Bard at the time with the rules of his language, and we were able to create new vocabulary and new words. And he was using that as a basis to continue this. But not only that, he had the vision for making nail products, making clothing. And so this was examples of, and I hadn't spoken to him for over a year, but I saw how he's been using AI after we met, and he just invented all these designs that represent his language, the Zekanai language, and it's really awesome. And I'm just so happy for him. He's actually doing weekly shows, weekly episodes, kind of like La Mesa, to teach his language. He has a website going on, and so he's using AI to carry on his vision. It's his creativity, but he's programming it, and he's doing amazing things. So this just speaks to the power of how AI really inspires people and brings out the creator in everyone. And that's just something I wanted to share. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Javi. I see two parallels. You're dealing with the justice impacted community, which we know they may be absent for years at a time from everything going on in the world, just not completely, but majorly disconnected, at least from having access to tools. And our cultures, especially from Black and Brown communities, the Latino culture overall, I feel that when it comes to technology, we've been also absent. Obviously, not to that extreme, talking about years, but not being in those tech spaces, which is why we created La Mesa IA to discuss not only what's going on, but what are the possibilities that as individuals, we can harness this technology, monetize it, make our lives easier, survive this crazy economy. And if you can do it with justice impacted students who had ideas that may have been dormant for years, but now they come to you and they say, hey, Javi, I want to learn and I want you to train me on how to use this AI tool to make a book, to make a clothing line, to get old manuscripts that may have been tossed out, but they're still residing in my head and make them visual and sell it, then we're already on the right track. And this is why I remind people, don't be afraid of AI. Be willing to embrace it. Sometimes it's just a matter of being honest and saying, I don't know where to get started. And we all go through that because it's overwhelming. Every 2 weeks, there's a new tool. And the knowledge you learn today, unfortunately, is already 3 months old because there's new stuff always coming out. So we're going to pass it on
Absolutely.
now. Absolutely. Thank you for that amazing testimony as far as what you're doing. Great work over there at CUNY in New York. Appreciate you and appreciate what you're going to do. We also got Cynthia and Olga who want to share their insight as well regarding what's going on in the world of AI. So I'll pass it to you, ladies.
Olga, did you want to kick us off, or I'm happy to get started?
You can go.
Okay, awesome.
Right.
Well, I just wanted to echo Mike's comments. Javi, thank you for sharing those powerful use cases and individuals who are just brilliant and so admirable, and highlights the great work that you're doing out there. And, you're so inspiring, and it reminds us of why AI is so powerful for communities and individuals like ourselves, right? From my standpoint, AI is a great equalizer, specifically because of the free or low entry point, right? And how I like to frame it is now we are not alone. We have experts in our pockets 24/7. The sky's the limit. And by leveraging AI, we can tap into things that perhaps we weren't tapping into, not because we didn't have the skills, but because we didn't have the wherewithal. And what I mean by that is we didn't have someone like Mike or said earlier, right? The experts, the marketing company, the branding expert, the strategy, consultant, the business consultant. But now we can, but that's why rooms and discussions like ours are so critical, because now we have those resources. But the next part of that work is, how do we tap into that? And not only explaining what the tools can do, but how do we go about it? And with that being said, I was thinking maybe once we wrap up, it'd be great to share, kind of the tools we mentioned, and maybe a few prompts of how we could do different things, like the storyboard, Mike, that was really powerful and just great. And the fact that you were able to pull that off, such powerful visuals in a handful of minutes, is just incredibly empowering and fascinating from my perspective. And really, everything that's been said, I echo, and I wanted to expand on that a bit and just highlight the importance of what AI can do. We already have these different talents, these different skills. What AI can let us do is now amplify that message, right? My tagline is amplification, not automation, right? Because yeah, you can automate everything, but from my standpoint, the how as a community we level up by using AI is by using it to amplify what's already in our hearts, in our brains, what we already have carrying forward, our legacy, those unique things that make us unique individuals, right? We have so much we can bring to the table. And I love that we're framing our discussion around the churros, because it highlights how we all have so many talents that are monetizable. And now with AI, you can quickly put together something that can help you leverage your skill set, whatever that may look like. So I really wanted to kind of walk you through what that would look like. And how I've done it from a professional standpoint, I tell people feed it your resume, tell it what you've done, other things that are not in your resume, and then have a strategy session, right? What can I monetize? How can I monetize this quicker? But using the churro perspective, I'll go ahead and demo what you could do, and I'll put the prompt in the chat. And if you want to follow along, that's great. Otherwise, I'll share my screen and walk you through it. And so the prompt is, and you'll see it, I just dropped it in the chat. And then let me share my screen. And I'm going to use Claude because that is my favorite LLM for strategy and business type things. And not for everything though. And just for more deep thinking, that is my preference. Let me
Cynthia, let me interject. Will I be
yeah.
able to make delicious churros after today's training, or am I gonna need a follow-up training? I'm still
Need a follow-up
struggling.
training.
Okay,
I'll just mail you some, spare your family.
thank
Oh
you,
wow.
thank you. Because it still smells like fried churros in here, like this the frituras, has not left the house. That was 2 weeks ago.
So I'm sharing my screen, and for transparency's sake, I'm a churro fan. I probably have them once a week. I live like 5 exits away from the Mexico border, and I go way too often, at least once a week. And we're definitely always hitting up the churro stand to the point that he now knows me and my kids. But funny story, the guy that we buy the churros from, they've been making it for 100 and something years. It started with his great grandparents, and it's a recipe that they've passed down. Very unique. They're actually pink. So next time I go, I'll take a picture of it. Just really cool, best churros ever. So here's my screen. I hope you guys can all see it. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna run it. So basically, I said I have 20 years of experience making and selling churros using my grandmother's recipe. I want to turn this into a paid workshop and see what it tells me, right? And again, I've had a lot of people push back on AI. Well, what if people trained it, then that means we're capable of this. Yes, but nobody's capable of doing it at this speed, which is why, again, right, it amplifies us because it allows us to it frees up our time to focus on other things that AI can't do for us. So here it's giving me the different modules, it's creating it. I could then, after this, tell it build the website, build the branding. Claude also has design functions, and you could see that right here. And if you already have the branding, but I could then next tell it, help me do the branding, help me choose colors, help me choose a business name, whatever, right? But see here, you see how it's quickly developing the different modules to do this and launch a series, right? And I could tell it, you know what? Let me tell it, never mind, I'm too shy. How else can I monetize this?
And Cynthia, can I ask you a technical question
Yeah,
for our viewers?
yeah.
And I think I had asked a similar one to Javi because I know you're both amazing with Claude. In ChatGPT, as we got used to prompting, we would tell Chat what its job was. We would tell it, you're an accounting or you're a chef and you need to make churro recipes. But I feel that in Claude, it already knows more or less where you're going with it. It's just amplifying and it skips that step of you having to tell it what its job function is. Is that more or less the case? Do you feel that?
Yes and no. So it gives you really good advice, but sometimes I found it does differ depending on what you tell it, right? It usually the changes are usually minimal, but I occasionally will do that if it's something very high level that I want to get right. So for example, if it's an issue at work and I'm putting together a letter, I'm going to tell it, review it from the CEO standpoint, review it from the HR standpoint, review it from the EEO standpoint, just to make sure. And I tell it, I want to ensure there's no gaps. And so usually it'll be like, oh, great catch. I caught this, right? Or sometimes it doesn't, but I still do that in order to check my thinking because I want to make sure that it's at 100% the first time. So I told it, I'm shy, and it tells me almost no audience interaction is needed, and it's like walking me through it, what I could do. It gave me a YouTube channel with face optional content, and it's giving me suggestions, right? So, and that's again, the experts in our pocket, right? It'll tell us different ways about how to go about this. So now I'm going to tell it, I'm broke, need money now. How can I do this fast?
You can give it a specific budget as well when working within Claude.
Yeah, like I could tell it I need 5K by the end of the month. I need 20K. How can I do this? And then it'll give me a plan.
Yeah. Hey, Sen, just to highlight what you said before, because I thought it was really important about the role. Whenever you give AI a role, you are really pinpointing its focus in the knowledge base on everything that that role entails. So it's the difference maker between mentioning, give me financial advice on stocks versus you are a financial literacy success coach. Because whatever it entails to be a literacy success coach, all the principles that they employ in their practice that becomes applied in the prompt. Just wanted to highlight that. But
I
you're
love that.
on
Thank you
point.
for adding that insight. And yes, super spot on. So I'll direct you guys back to the prompt of what it told me. I told it I'm broke, I need money now. How can I monetize quickly? And then it tells me this week, fastest, farmers markets, Facebook, Venmo, send it to a coworker's office at church, post a photo and take orders online, create a small event, which I like, reach out to anyone you know planning a party, which I thought was pretty brilliant, right? And then within 1 to 2 weeks, sell to a local coffee shop, a bakery, taco shop, walk in with samples, a pop-up flea market or swap meet, and it says what you need to start today: a photo of your churros, a price, and a way to collect money. That's it, right? And that's so crazy because in how many minutes did we go from nothing to now having a business plan? Or somewhat, right? Or the emergence of a tactical strategy to start monetizing on the skill. And just like that, you could do that with any skill set that you already have, right? So let's say yours is, I don't know, making those lays for graduations, right? And you normally just do it for your family, but you see that it's graduation season, you want to monetize it, tell it, right? Anything that you have can be monetized. And before it was kind of tricky because at least me, I love being in strategy sessions and I'm always just daydreaming, but now you can make it quickly actionable and again, amplify what's already uniquely yours. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Olga.
Thank you, Olga, for coming on. Olga, just to break the ice real quick, I go through this as well, and I know some of our listeners do this as well. We have mental blocks, don't we? We think all these great ideas from the perspective of our couch, or you're lying in bed thinking one day, oh, yeah, I'm going to start that business, I'm going to do something. And we get hit with that wall of doubt and fear. And I know you are amazing. You're an expert in helping us understand the why, the how, but the next steps of overcoming the mental blocks to seeing our dreams realized. Because we have all the AI tools, but sometimes we need that little push, that little
Ourselves.
encouragement. So, with
Olga
that,
helps us understand ourselves.
yeah,
Sí.
100%.
Muchas gracias por esa introducción y hacer la conexión. Sí, para nosotros aquí en la mesa es muy importante la parte de la mentalidad, porque muchas veces tenemos todas las herramientas, pero no nos movemos de acuerdo a la cantidad de información que recibimos. Y es por eso que siempre tratamos de enseñarles cómo no solamente recibir la información que le damos aquí, sino ponerla en práctica. Y vamos a hablar por qué, después que Cintia explicó cómo poder monetizar nuestras ideas, después que Mike le dio ejemplos, después que Javi les dijo, es posible para cualquier comunidad. ¿Por qué no lo hacemos? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué todavía estamos recibiendo la motivación, la inspiración, los ejemplos, pero no lo logramos? Entonces, tiene que ver mucho con nuestra mentalidad, el tipo de mentalidad que nosotros tenemos. Y quiero empezar con una pregunta. ¿Cuántas veces has dicho, cuando esté listo, lista, lo hago o lo lanzo o lo pongo disponible para el público? ¿Cuántas veces has guardado una idea? Yo creo que todos, ¿verdad? Un servicio, un recurso que tú sabes que puede ayudar mucho a alguien, a la comunidad, pero no lo has sacado a la luz, no lo has puesto público. Entonces, hoy te voy a decir algo que nadie quizás te ha dicho. Eso no es falta de que te falta tiempo, que te falta recursos. Es simplemente tu cerebro protegiéndote de algo que percibe como peligroso. Y no, Si no sabes cómo manejar eso, vas a seguir esperando, esperando, esperando y supuestamente preparándote para poder hacerlo perfecto. Y ahí es cuando nosotros nos escondemos detrás de una barrera de perfeccionismo porque no estamos listos, necesitamos prepararnos más. Viene lo que es el síndrome del impostor, el imposter syndrome, diciéndonos, no, tú no estás calificado, tú no puedes hacer eso. ¿Quién te dijo a ti que tú mereces estar en esa posición? Todos esos pensamientos vienen como forma de protección. Entonces, existe algo que los neurocientíficos llaman como la maldición del conocimiento. Cuando tú sabes algo y llevas mucho tiempo manejando la información, el cerebro asume que todo el mundo lo sabe. ¿Les ha pasado? Ustedes saben mucho de AI, de herramientas, y llegan a un punto a pensar de que es una información obvia, que todo el mundo está supuesto a saberlo. Entonces lo tratamos como información que ya ni siquiera tiene valor, porque es como que todo el mundo debe saber hacer churro, porque yo sé hacer churro perfectamente. Entonces, realmente no es así como funciona. Inclusive hay un experimento muy famoso en Stanford, donde pusieron a un grupo de personas a tocar así con las manos una canción súper famosa, que es Cumpleaños Feliz, y le preguntaron, si ustedes tocan cumpleaños feliz así con las manos, ¿qué por ciento ustedes piensan que le van a adivinar? Porque es una canción que yo creo que en todos los idiomas se canta con el mismo ritmo. Cumpleaños feliz. ¿Y ustedes saben cuál fue el por ciento real? 2,5%. Lo que ellos asumieron que era súper obvio para todo el mundo. Yo estoy tocando cumpleaños feliz, todo el mundo tiene que darse cuenta de que estoy tocando cumpleaños feliz, ¿verdad? No, solamente el 2,5% de las otras personas que no sabían lo que ellos estaban tocando con las manos adivinaron. Y creo que está alto el por ciento. Entonces, eso eres tú. Tú escuchas la melodía completita en tu cabeza. Ya tú te sabes tú te sabes la información, tú te sabes cómo funciona, tú te sabes cómo se mueve. Pero las personas allá afuera no escuchan nada, no entienden el ritmo, no entienden esa melodía que tú ya te sueñas con ella. Lo que es obvio para ti, para ellos es exactamente lo que ellos necesitan aprender. Y aquí es donde entra la neurociencia y esto es lo que a mí me apasiona bastante para los que me conocen. Cuando tú piensas en poner precio a lo que sabes, en publicar, en lanzar, tu amígdala, que queda en esta parte del cerebro, es como una forma de almendrita. Es como, funciona como una alarma y se activa inmediatamente porque es algo desconocido, algo que tú nunca has hecho y no distingue entre tú estar siendo perseguido por un león a una crítica no constructiva en las redes sociales. Para el cerebro, el rechazo social equivale a ser expulsado de una comunidad. Entonces, lo percibe como una amenaza hasta de muerte. Así es que lo percibe el cerebro. No es lógico, pero así lo percibe el cerebro. Entonces, el cerebro hace lo que sabe hacer mejor. Te frena, te paraliza y lo sientes en tu cuerpo, te da taquicardia, se te acelera el pulso, se te acelera el corazón, respiras diferente, te pones nervioso, nerviosa cuando estás a punto de hacer algo que nunca has hecho. Y el mercado no recibe tu gran oferta. Tú, que eres súper inteligente, que te sabes todo tu material, todo tu contenido, toda tu información, encuentras miles de razones para seguir paralizado. Necesito otra certificación, necesito más seguidores en las redes sociales, necesito conectar con las personas indicadas, necesito tener dinero. Y eso no es estrategia, mis amigos. Eso es el sistema de supervivencia disfrazado de prudencia. Entonces, ¿qué podemos hacer? ¿Qué hacemos con esto? Primero, entiende que lanzar pequeño no es falta de ambición. Muchas veces queremos, como yo siempre pongo el ejemplo, perder 30 libras en una semana. Eso es obviamente casi imposible, al menos que te pase una catástrofe. Vamos a empezar por 1 libra a la semana o media libra a la semana, ¿verdad? Entonces, igual aplicamos ese mismo concepto con nuestras metas de profesionales. Cuando empiezas con algo pequeño, algo que el mercado puede probar, algo que puedes lanzar esta semana, le estás dando a tu cerebro evidencia de que no te vas a morir, de que lo puedes hacer y lo puedes hacer cada vez más grande. Le estás dando enseñanza que el rechazo no es el fin del mundo y que cada pequeña acción con cada persona que se introduzca en tu camino le genera confianza, te genera confianza a ti y a tu sistema nervioso. Entonces, los psicólogos lo llaman de sensibilización sistemática y yo lo llamo construir confianza biológica. Hay una técnica que viene de la terapia cognitiva conductual que se llama reencuadre cognitivo, que es básicamente cambiar cómo interpretamos algo. Entonces, en lugar de pensar, si cobro, no me contratan. Y si me rechazan, eh, eh, si cobro y no me contratan, me van a rechazar. Y ahí viene mucho la idea de que no puedo ponerle precio a mi trabajo, necesito trabajar de gratis cuando estoy empezando para darme a conocer. Y empiezan todas esas limitantes que nosotros mismos nos ponemos por el temor de que no nos valoren, de que nos rechacen. Entonces, ¿cómo cambia todo esto? Cambia cuando nosotros cambiamos esos pensamientos de derrota por pensamientos positivos. En vez de decir, y si me sale mal, mejor dice, y si me sale mal, pero aprendo a cómo hacerlo mejor. Porque puede ser que sí, que salga mal, es una probabilidad. Entonces, algo también, algo más que quiero decirle especialmente a nuestra comunidad latina, es que nosotros venimos de culturas donde a veces hablar de dinero es incómodo, donde pedir lo que vales, a veces en algunas culturas entre nosotros mismos se considera como arrogancia, donde servir se confunde con regalar. Muchas veces nosotros sí tenemos ese espíritu de servicio, pero pensamos que para servir tenemos que regalar nuestro trabajo. Eso pasa mucho en nuestra comunidad. Y ese patrón cultural también está grabado en nuestros circuitos mentales y también se pueden cambiar, que esa es la buena noticia. Todos esos mensajes antiguos, pensamientos que nosotros a veces no nos ayudan a avanzar, todo eso se puede cambiar, todo eso es posible el cambio. Estoy terminando. Entonces, para llevarte a algo concreto hoy, el conocimiento que tienes tiene mucho valor, tiene valor real, no porque tú lo digas, sino porque hay personas que llevan meses, años, toda su vida buscando exactamente lo que tú sabes, lo que tú conoces. Entonces, ese miedo a lanzar no es una señal de que no estás listo. Es una señal de que tu cerebro está funcionando exactamente como fue diseñado para que tú te protejas de cuando hay cosas realmente que son de peligro. Entonces, esta semana, este es lo que yo como el call to action. Haz una cosa pequeña, publica algo en las redes sociales, algo que no te exponga mucho para los que le tienen miedo a la visibilidad. Ofrece algo, lanza algo, no el proyecto completo. Empieza por un paso pequeñito. Yo uso mucho cuando trabajo con clientes, haz algo que te tome un minuto, ya sea enviar un correo electrónico, escribir el título de un artículo que tú quieres publicar, algo que te tome un minuto para que tú darte esa sensación de que estoy seguro, no me voy a morir, no hay ningún león persiguiéndome, puedo respirar y seguir continuando, entonces acumulando pasitos hasta que llegue a mi meta mayor. Porque el mercado no necesita que seas perfecto, no lo necesitamos, solo necesitamos que estés ahí, que estés presente. Muchas gracias.
Fenomenal, Olga. Y yo estoy poniendo en el chat, yo sé que Olga acaba de lanzar un Bold Action Challenge, que ahora hay un waitlist para la próxima. Puse el link en el chat si quieren aprender más de lo que está haciendo. Uh, yo estaba leyendo sobre qué es la amígdala y disculpa que estamos en English and Spanish, so
Sí.
voy a practicar un poco mi portuñol, portugués, Spanish. Pero
Ah,
de lo que explicaste es exacto como dice el Internet, que la amígdala es un pedazo del cerebro tan pequeño, pero
ujú,
directamente conectado a nuestras emociones, especialmente como fight or flight. Y es exacto como lo explicaste. El ser puede paralizarse si empieza a ponerse en modo de defensa.
sí.
Um, yo creo que también tocaste en algo que a veces no nos damos cuenta y es la cultura, cuánto está en nuestro DNA.
Ujú,
Yo le doy el ejemplo. Eh, Mi esposa, por ejemplo, me explicó algo de que en un tiempo pasado, la gente que eran los boomers le consideraban lo del silent generation. Usted como el hijo no podía responder, faltar
no puede
respeto,
hablar.
hablar,
Ujú,
todo
ujú.
era a través, dependiendo de la
Inclusive en
cultura.
Dominicana dice, usted habla cuando la gallina mea. A los
Exacto,
niños le
exacto.
decían eso.
Dependiendo si la familia era más como matriarcal o patriarcal, ¿sabe? Papá siempre o mamá siempre tiene la última palabra. Ahora, piensa como eso le hace sentir en su confianza para que cuando uno salga a ser un adulto y tenga hijos y familia, se siente restricted o se siente willing and ready to go.
Yeah.
Eso cambia mucho en este país porque muchos de los valores latinos se pierden cuando uno viene a este país y cría hijos en lugares, digamos, Miami, New York City,
Ujú.
Oklahoma, donde sea, porque estamos, disculpa my Spanglish, we are assimilating to the culture,
Sí.
pero algunos de los valores no se mantienen. Por una parte eso es bueno, por otra parte es malo. Lo bueno es que yo veo que yo puedo hacer cosas diferentes en esta generación. Yo vine acá no entendiendo, hablando el inglés muy bien, yo era pequeñito, pero en las escuelas americanas se me fue el acento, mejoré y mejoré y mejoré y mejoré y pude hacer cosas acá que nunca en las generaciones mis padres se podían hacer, como
Mm.
lanzar un Instagram account, o un website o un business. Y eso es la meta de hoy, poder no solo ver de una perspectiva cultural, pero de la tecnología y del físico, de la biología, que hoy se puede hacer más. No tienes que quedarte encerrado en su cueva pensando, wow, maybe one day yo hago un food truck. ¿Saben? One day, porque el one day se convierte en un año, en 10 años, y llegas a los 70 años y estás ahora looking back diciendo, wow, quisiera tener más tiempo y eso no es posible ya a los 70 años. So, thank you for sharing that. That is very, very, very powerful. Y una pregunta que le quería dar a lo que están presentes, estoy chequeando el Facebook a ver si me entró unos chats. Eh, ¿Qué ustedes están sacando de este tema? El valor. What are you getting out of this session that you find is valuable? Before you came into this session, you may have thought, I have a business idea, or, I'm struggling and I want to do something different. And I know I'm very good at this thing, but how do I go from making churros at home to selling them and bringing home $500,000 on the weekend? How do I do that? And we've explored some of the tools like Claude. You've seen some of the testimonies that Javier shared today of working with the justice impacted students who were completely disconnected for years. And if they can do it, that is a tremendous motivation to tell you that you can do it. So I would love to see your comments in the chat to see what you
O
got
si
out of this, how you feel
quieren
now.
hablar, unmute yourself.
And I'm still holding on to that thought, Olga.
Yo
You
creo
told
que
me.
Danitza quiere hablar.
I'll say something. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's probably afternoon. All of you in Miami, I'm assuming. Yes, most of you. I think, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Okay, I'm going to put myself in a situation where it may not go over well. So I apologize in advance. But I think we need to leave the arena of why people aren't trying to use AI and be better at being examples of people using AI. Because people are looking for, we live in a very entertain me, quick, easy, give it to me society. Less work is more. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. I mean, that is our society right now. Quick answers, entertainment. And for us to be incorporating AI in our businesses, with our friends, our family, our community, we have to be major participants in utilizing it. And not allowing, and this is where I may get in trouble, not allowing the typical, Elon Musk, Reddit, big names to be the only drivers. We have to be, as Latinos, if we're going to incorporate Latinos in AI, we have to drive the bus. We can't just always assume somebody else is going to build it. We have to build these areas. I personally as I work with Claude and Gemini and other, they're coming up every single day. I mean, it's just amazing. The voice is very different. We all see it. There's very minimal in Spanish. If you try to do, I don't know how many of you have tried to do AI in Spanish. There is a glitch there, or AI in a separate language. There's a glitch. That should tell us, as a culture, our voices are so needed. Our engineers and our Hispanic engineers need to see us utilizing it, wanting it, protecting it, monitoring it in a way that represents not only our culture, but also engages our culture to monetarily pay us for our services. If our culture continuously goes out and gives it to, AWS, gives it to Gemini, gives it to Claude, we are losing. We are losing. So we have to come up with different methods to engage our culture, educate our culture, entertain our culture, but make sure our culture reciprocates in the monetary. Because if we keep giving it out, we will lose every single time.
It's about being active and not passive, letting that bus take off. And I think that as individuals from the Hispanic and Latino background, doesn't matter if you're first, second gen, but you have that in your DNA. You have the opportunity to showcase your culture and showcase your talents. It doesn't necessarily be that I have to open up a churros food truck. Maybe I open up a design studio. It has nothing to do with my culture, but you're going to see elements of my personality and my culture shine in what we do, and that's beautiful. It should be like that. We have to be also in those tech spaces and be more vocal, be available, have meetings like this in La Mesa IA, where you can talk about this and have something for the community. Because guess what? Nobody else is going to put it out there. And I wrote about that recently. We go on LinkedIn. People are constantly idolizing Musk and Zuckerberg and Jensen Huang and all these powerful people in technology. I would love to see more stories about people who are not at the top of their game, but who are building from within their own community. That's why I was so encouraged about the story of Cooking Con Claudia, who made a whole Instagram channel based off Mexican food, and she is publishing books. She's monetizing. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers. It's bananas, off of recipes that maybe one day she was in her kitchen and just thinking, you know what? Why don't I start a YouTube channel? Just start somewhere, or why don't I take a bold action 90-day course with Olga and overcome my fears, or take a class with Javi or Cynthia. And I did want to highlight also, I know Danitza, you started as a Latina founder, you started a technology company over there in the West Coast. Yeah. I know, because we talked about the hot button, the safety feature. Mm-hmm. You came up with something that is just groundbreaking, because I think of people who go on trips, go to concerts, and you never hear from them. And you came up with a security feature to be able to send those messages. It's like a legacy management system, but it's you from your culture giving something back to the world. That's just mind-blowing. So
thank you. We as people in tech, we have a very fine line. We are either going to build technology to just monetarily make ourselves extremely rich, or we are going to build technology that is conscious of people and humanity and family and everything else that goes with that. Super, super important that we realize which side we want to be on.
Awesome.
Mauricio Arias.
We have a question too. Is that right? I was just reading the chat.
He's raising his hand.
Mauricio. Go ahead, Mauricio.
Hey guys.
Hey, Mauricio.
Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing?
Bienvenidos.
Nice to meet everybody. How you doing, Mike?
How you doing, buddy? Great to see you.
Great.
So what's your question?
Just a feedback. I was on a customer service call with Comcast. I think it was yesterday. So it was interesting, the call, because the guy was on the line with me for like a long time, 40 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. He called back. He was excellent customer service. It was Comcast. He called back the next day, just just incredibly detailed, very attentive. And I was interested because after a while, I picked up a little something different. I'm like, all right, this is not. I don't usually get this from U.S. customer service personnel. So I'm like, all right. I asked him, are you AI? He's like, no, I'm not AI. I'm actually calling from overseas. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. It sounds you sound very different. He's like, oh yes, because I'm using he sounded almost like had a British type of sounding. So what they're using is they talk into like a microphone, I guess, and they translate their. So he was actually from Egypt. I asked him, he's like,
Wow.
Guess where I'm from?" I'm like, maybe South Asia or India. He said, "No, I'm from Africa," but his tone and his tone of voice was very English, and
Like British.
British, very clear British. And the stereotype for many years, the customer service of that stereotype was always of the high class British cu- customer service would be that English accent. So that's what it is, and they applied that to him. And it sounded great. I was very curious about it, and my experience was good because I was very impressed by his speaking, his tone, and he was just. I was very impressed by his just the way he communicated, and it was just translating his regular voice to a slightly British tone. It wasn't completely. It just his tone was very very correct in the way he said his words. His words are very clear
Very
and
eloquent.
spoken. Eloquent, yeah, exactly.
So
So
it
that
wasn't like Miami Spanish, for example.
no, it wasn't Miami Spanish like
It was
like myself, public school down here. Uh, it that's the thing. Going into the future, we're gonna probably be speaking in conferences, and we're not. It's not even gonna be our voice anymore. Most likely, we're gonna be talking in different languages. We're gonna be assigned our different if we want to speak to conferences that we might speak Spanish, but we might be assigned to an English voice. Well, whatever voice we want to speak to communicate in, they're going to be listening to us in a different voice. So it might not, you might meet the person in real life and they're like, oh, you don't sound like the person that you're on the phone, you're on a conference call. It's very possible that might happen, that you communicate in a different way online, and you might not even meet the person in real life, but the whole point of is connecting and communicating not correctly, I would say communicate in a way where people understand your dialect or whatever, because people have different backgrounds and stuff like that. I think Comcast is doing that right now. They're paying a guy overseas, I don't know how much, who knows, but they're using technology to improve his communication skills. Um and um and there was a viral thing that Hermosi, I think his name is. He said, some Indian guy he said, how can I get more sales in the US? I want to get more sales, in a very deep Indian accent. Hermosi says, you have to get rid of the Indian accent. So this is reality. This is reality. Like I love my mom. She has a very deep accent. It's just reality. So you have to sell to Americans. They're gonna hear your accent, and that's just the way of the future. Unfortunately,
you touched up on something that's profoundly deep, and I was just Googling here and I found that yes, they're using like a voice modification technology that
Mhm.
basically reduces their ethnicity
Mhm.
in the voice and gives you a more American or
Mhm.
British or whatever sounding accent. And it's funny because I wrote about going to Popeye's Fried Chicken in Broward County, and I got like this British sounding white female voice on the drive-through, and I'm like, listen, man, I'm from Miami. I'm not used to that. I'm used to a little flavor. This is 305. This is Popeyes. I want to hear, what you want.
Right.
How much sauce? Like I want a little I'm okay with that. But what happened is that I talked to a buddy of mine, his name's Julian. He has a company called Dublin right here in South Florida. He works a lot with franchises, and he said, yes, franchisees and those companies are using technology in the drive-throughs to speed up transactions. You're not dealing with a human, you're now dealing with a voice agent. So I'm not surprised that you say that, but el problema, the problem here is that you lose your authentic self. And we already do it on LinkedIn. We put pictures of us that are not even us anymore.
Right.
This is no longer human. You're getting a modified version. And when you go to meet the person at a conference, you're like, man, I thought you were taller or younger or more beautiful or more polished because I see your posts and they're so perfect. We lose that authenticity. What are you guys' thoughts on that, Cynthia, Javi, and Olga?
Thank you. If I'll go ahead and jump in, I think this is just the beginning because it's an uptick. Google is about to release a very quick and easy way on how you can do an avatar. The technology is there. I have a lot of friends that have developed their avatars, and it blinks, it moves, it has mannerisms. I cannot tell. That's how good the tech is, right? And they'll post a fake one and a real one, and I cannot tell the difference because it's her own voice, intonations, the gesturing, the blinking. I mean, it is very scary. And why, and again, right, like we've discussed throughout today, that's why these conversations are more critical than ever. Not only so that we can kind of strategize and think it through as a community, but also going back to what Danitza said, right? How do we monetize on this wave, right? Because from my standpoint, this is the like fourth industrial revolution. Either we're active participants and we capitalize on it along with others, or we're going to get left out, which is why we need to be actively pursuing and getting in front of as many people as possible and equipping as many possible with this skill set, and so that they can too be part of this hopefully next wave of lots of money. I mean, lots of people are already making a lot of money, and there's no reason why we can't all be included on there, right? This is a great opportunity. I see it kind of like as the .com era where a lot of people made a lot of money, but unfortunately not our community, right? Because we were not as diligent about pursuing these avenues and whatever that may look like, right? Even a very grassroots organic level. I think it's and that's the urgency behind it, right? It's all hands on deck now because it's moving fast and it'll continue to move fast. Olga said something earlier about a call to action. She mentioned post something on LinkedIn, to get our amygdala in line. So I wanted to share a prompt that I created. I'll paste it here in the chat so you can create a post on today's workshop. And if you don't want to use that prompt, I went ahead and made two different potential posts that you can share about your experience today. Feel free to use or not use them, but I wanted to help facilitate that and make it easier for all you guys to get out there. So here's also a fully written post in Spanish, and I'll follow up with the English version of it. Or you can create and tailor your own one by using the first prompt. And I'll go off mute now. Thank you, everybody, for the lively discussion.
I was just going to say, in regards to Cynthia's remark about how cloning is there, we are actually, Liz, my company, is actually going to Hey Gen, and Hey Gen is a cloning company. It is literally, we were invited to be cloned, like me. Like, I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why they want to clone me. I have no idea. I just got an invite. They're like, we'd like to have you come to an invite only where we'll be cloning a few people. We like your business, on and on and on. The problem, and I will tell you right off the bat, the problem was, will you please list your ethnicity? So what did I say? I'm half Croatian, half Hispanic. They're like, ooh, that'll be a challenge. We're looking forward to that. Okay. So again, the cloning process is still so new in the game, and they have certain parameters in the cloning. So obviously, some of us are not going to fit those parameters. And very much like Cynthia said, if we are not stepping up, we are being left behind. We are really going to be left behind. And with our culture, our numbers in regards to population going to be off the charts within 10 to 15 years, we really need to make sure that we are advancing in technology at record speed like other companies and other cultures.
That is just fabulous, fabulous feedback. You know, I asked a deeper question as we close out today's session. Who is determining what an avatar should sound like at the drive-through, or what the next technology company's face will look like? Will it be a Latino? Will it be a Latino with a half Croatian, as you described, Denitza? You know, will it be a person? You know, as Latinos, we talk a lot with our hands. We're very passionate. If you look at me speaking from a distance, you may think, oh, he's arguing with somebody. I'm like, no, this is just how I talk. But if I made an avatar version of myself and now sold it to millions of subscribers around the world, am I supposed to dwindle down that level of excitement or that passion and be more robotic? And is that what the world accepts as, well, this is what we should put in our computer systems? This should be now part of our enterprise system? Or do we have full authentic Mike? So I don't have the answer for that, because what I do know is that I don't feel that we should allow technology companies to dictate how our culture fits into the next great platform that's sold out there. For them to interpret what we should look, sound like, feel like, because at that point, what's happening is what has happened in history. We are eliminating the true story of our background and not allowing it to bleed over into the technology. Yeah, we can fine tune some things. Look, I don't have to talk at 200 decibels. I could be at 20 decibels, for example, you know, volume. But why would we allow another technology company to decide what a Latino avatar should be like, for example? So it's a very deep discussion, and this is what we got to do: keep showing up. Guys, any closing thoughts as we finish today's segment on La Mesa IA, please?
Hey everybody. I think today we covered some very important topics. One is just how much agency we can have with AI if we channel our ideas, and that the positions that people are in, some people are coming from justice impacted backgrounds, some people are coming from low technology backgrounds. The point is they all have the ability to put themselves out there, to build their businesses and to represent their voice. And we really can't lose our voice. And I thought what Mauricio said, I thank him for bringing it up, was very sad to me, because it reminds me of cultural erasure. And this is not something that is new at all. We've seen Hollywood had Latino actors change their names to sound more Americanized. A great example is Ramon Estevez became Martin Sheen. There's this, I think I'm reminded of Christian Ortiz. This is like an extension of empire, an extension of colonialism, in the sense that it's going to make one voice the dominant voice. And what Denise says is so true. We have to show up. Even if we don't have the power right now, companies have all the fortune and money to build the AI the way they want to. How we respond with that AI translates into something that people can see. And we have to just keep using it to represent ourselves, but be aware of the dangers.
And remembering our value more than anything, Javier. Olga touched up on something about knowing our power and what we can do, and having the confidence to move forward, not to freeze up. You know, charge your value. You bring insight that companies are willing to pay to understand of how to connect with the Latin market, local and beyond. So if you're coming from technology, definitely, you know, my rule of thumb always put 20% more, but that's just me. Closing thoughts, Olga, Cynthia, anyone else who was on the chat for today as we wrap up?
I would say let's continue building together, learning together, and growing community together. I think that's a lot of power in that. And I think that if we continue to have spaces like this, whether it be within La Mesa or you do your own thing, we just need to continue to spread the good news of AI and equip as many people with that AI fluency and not gatekeep, right? This is a key moment in history, and a lot of changes are happening very quickly. The more that we support and help each other, the better we'll all be for it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Nos vemos pronto.
Ciao.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming out today.